You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
Saturday at 69. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 63 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning and welcome in to the Thursday edition of Inside the Locker Room. 205-342-9904 is the phone number if you'd like to get in on the show with us this morning. JC will join us here at the bottom of the hour like he does every Thursday. We'll go around the SEC, really around the nation with JC. Our X accounts at Locker Room 109, at Barry Sanderson, at Wimp Sanderson 1. The email for the show is wimpandbarry@yahoo.com. You can download that Tide 100.9 app. Tons of people have downloaded the app, so download the app and tell two friends about it. You can take us with you anywhere you go. You also can send us an app message throughout the show, and most of the time we'll read those out on the air and we'll respond to whatever you're interested in talking about. Sometimes you hear what we're talking and you want to chime in, but you don't like to call, so you're welcome to send that message. We also appreciate the phone calls. We want to thank Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern. As always, they make this 7 o'clock hour possible. Going to build a fence, deck, or pergola you want to build to last. There's only one product to use, and that is Yellowwood. Where do you find it? Go to yellowwood.com, put the zip code in. It'll pull up the dealer closest to you. And always remember, guys, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, then you certainly don't want it. I gave you a gift last night, although I watched part of it, that Arkansas and Troy game. It was back and forth there for a while to cover that 12, and I think Arkansas kind of pulled away at the end. I don't know how good Arkansas is, but they ended up winning by 16 or so that was a cover. So if you took my advice there, Chase, which I know you didn't, but if you did, out there, you're welcome. Good morning, Dad. How are you this morning?
Hanging in there. Tennessee won. They won last night against Montana. Auburn won. They did not play the two players that got into fisticuffs on the plane. They beat Kent State 79-56. Arkansas, as Barry's mentioned, beat Troy. Vanderbilt, under a new coach, we'll see how that goes. Of all the coaches all the schools that have changed coaches since I came to Alabama before any of you were born, Vanderbilt has changed the most coaches. Vanderbilt beat California last night, 85-69. The score doesn't matter, I don't guess. That's just gambling on it. Tonight, LSU is playing, and they're playing Kansas State, and Missouri playing somebody. The Florida basketball coach has asked university for patience and inquiry into the problems that he is having. So I would imagine that they're in that process of trying to do that for him. Lagway is going to be able to play against LSU, supposedly. The Vols came out yesterday and said that their quarterback wasn't going to play. Today they say he's questionable. They're trying to keep things stirred up for Georgia. Thorne at Auburn says he has a bad shoulder. Didn't say whether he's going to play or not. Caleb Cunningham, a kid from Akron, Mississippi, went over, I guess you saw all those pretty girls at Ole Miss, and went for the Georgia-Ole Miss game, and he is decommitted from Alabama and is going to Ole Miss. So I've got blue plates. I'm pretty confused on one of them I'm trying to decide on, which is very confusing. outside of that, I don't have much more.
All right, we'll release that blue plate today. We may release it a little bit early because Dad may have to get off a little early. So we'll try to release that blue plate, Chase, this morning at 8 o'clock. We'll try, so you got another 52 minutes to study. All right, that blue plate is brought to you by Chuck Norwood and the RE/MAX team of Gulf Shores. Buying or selling, contact the Norwood team for all your Gulf Shores, your Gulf Coast real estate needs, serving that area for over 33 years. They have a website, chucknorwood.com, 251-948-1212. All right, for you guys, it looks like to me when this thing's all said and done, you're going to have a lot of 6 and 2s. And you're going to have to figure out the tiebreaker on the 6 and 2s. I just pulled up. I know we talked about this last week, but I think maybe it's worth reviewing again. What is the tiebreakers? Well, the first tiebreaker is head-to-head competition among the tied teams. So, Georgia knocks off Tennessee. When you go to those head-to-heads, it's a wash. The second tiebreaker, record versus all common conference opponents among the tied leaders. If that doesn't do it, then you go record against highest place common conference opponents in the conference standings and proceed through the conference standings among the tied teams. If that doesn't do it, cumulative conference winning percentage of all conference opponents among the tied teams. If that doesn't do it, capped relative total scoring margin versus all conference opponents among the tied teams. So there's where when people are complaining about LSU trying to score that last touchdown, or when Ole Miss is scoring touchdowns, the margin of victory does factor in. So there is some method to the madness. I know, so LSU didn't get beat quite as bad if somehow they were to ease their way back in this thing. Those touchdowns matter, Dad and Chase. And the last one, random draw of the tied teams. You just throw them in a hat and draw them out. But there's a lot of people questioning why LSU would try to score, why Ole Miss is throwing. Dad, I guess these coaches looked at this thing and said, if one of those tiebreakers is margin of victory, then we need to pour it on. So that might be an answer to some of that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's it's affording these opportunities for these teams to, if they can run up the score, to run it up and do whatever they feel like it needs to be done to make their team look like they're the best. So it's just a complicated deal, really.
Yeah, I don't get the look. You leave who you want to in there. You want to leave your first team in there the entire game, leave them in there. You want to put your second string in, don't expect the first team to lay down because you put the second string in. They're going to try to score. They're going to try to maybe end the game on a positive note. I'm not sure why people are worried about that. Your job is to score, and the other team's job is to stop you. If they want to continue to try to score, then they can certainly do that. So this weekend, probably the biggest game as far as the conference standing goes is over in Athens, Georgia, with Tennessee. I just have not been that impressed with Tennessee. I know they're ranked the highest of all the SEC teams, and for some reason Georgia has not looked well at all. Carson Beck's had a bad year. He'd have been drafted a lot higher last year. He's driving a Lamborghini. I do know that. I don't think it has anything to do with how he's playing, but people do want to point to that. But do you think Georgia, I'm not saying covers, knocks off Tennessee over the weekend? If it does, then it's going to really throw this conference into a.
Well, I said I thought that Georgia would win, then I backed off to Tennessee. I'm not blue plating it. It's just a little bit hard for me to, even though I've got some personnel problems, just hard for me to bet against Georgia at home. It's just hard. So I'd say if I was betting my life on it, I'd probably still take Georgia, although most of our listeners think Tennessee's going to win. So I don't know.
The team I think that's getting too much respect, and they got it early, is Texas. Texas, I don't know they don't have a good win. If you say what's their best win, they got Colorado State, they got Michigan. At the time, I guess that was a good win. It was at Michigan, Texas San Antonio, Louisiana Monroe, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, at Vandy, and Florida at home. And they played Georgia at home and got beat. Why are they getting so much credit and ranked ahead of teams when they really don't even have I guess Vanderbilt is their only top 25 win currently? Why?
Well, I think when you find teams like Texas and Notre Dame, you find something in the name.
Yeah.
I just think you do with the voters. I don't care whether they're football people that know football or whatever they are. In their minds, with the voters, I think the Texas. I don't think A&M does. To some degree, Alabama does a little bit, but I think basically Texas and Notre Dame are ahead of everybody else in name as far as the voters are concerned. Always have been. Yeah.
So Digger, hold on to your hat. But Indiana should be ranked ahead of Texas. BYU should be ranked ahead of Texas. Tennessee should be ranked ahead of Texas. They have a good win. Texas doesn't have. Notre Dame probably should. So should Miami. I think Texas should be right down there above Alabama. For whatever, because that schedule is pathetic that they've played. I'm not saying they shouldn't be in the playoff, but they should not be sitting here at number 3. And so will have to play Texas A&M. But they do go to Arkansas, and I'm pulling for the Razorbacks, Chase. I'll get on record. I'm pulling for the Razorbacks this weekend to knock off Texas because I don't like teams that get ranked where they don't deserve to be just because of their name. And maybe that happens sometimes with Alabama as well. But I think the committee, they went and smacked around LSU. It only moved up one spot, so they're not getting a lot of Bama bump or Nick Saban bump right now maybe as they used to. All right, we'll take the break here. Open up the phone lines, 205-342-9904. Do you agree or disagree with me on Texas? I think they're getting too much because of the name Texas, and they should be better because of their name Texas, to be quite honest with you. Now, they only lost one game, but they lost to Georgia at home. 2 Minute Truck, they're at 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go if you want to pick up your boxes, your packing supplies, whatever you need to make this a smooth move. It's local, out of town, out of state. Moving is stressful, so let the professionals handle it. They'll take great care of you and your stuff. Give them a call today for the estimate, 205-247-5050. That is 2 Minute Truck. Movers who care.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Thursday morning. Tuscaloosa County Commissioner Mark Nelson is providing $70,000 from the District 3 Development Fund to purchase new bleachers for the softball field at Hillcrest High School. The team's boosters is accusing the county school board of not following through on a promise to fund the project. The board issued a statement saying it takes several steps to provide such funding. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage all throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A few here and there traffic woes starting in Cottondale. Watch out for this accident on 2059 eastbound after Tuscaloosa Coaling Highway 11, that is. It's on the right shoulder, but those main lanes are still a little slow with the looky-loos. And we're also looking at a fender bender on 359.
What's a corn farmer's favorite dog? A husky.
Some things shouldn't be flat. But with GHX, you can maximize your acres with one flat price. While other brands sell by the bag, we sell seed by the acre to maximize your yield and profit potential. Our custom seed recommendations combine extensive product characterization and agronomic expertise to get the right product, population, and placement, all for one flat price per acre. Learn how at ghxseed.com/connect.
Thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside.
What's a corn farmer's favorite dog? A husky.
Some things shouldn't be flat. But with GHX, you can maximize your acres with one flat price. While other brands sell by the bag, we sell seed by the acre to maximize your yield and profit potential. Our custom seed recommendations combine extensive product characterization and agronomic expertise to get the right product, population, and placement, all for one flat price per acre. Learn how at ghxseed.com/connect.
Free shipping to your home on purchases over $25. Your new Academy Sports and Outdoor store is located at 4610 U.S. Highway 280 in Birmingham.
Never miss a moment of the action. Download the free Tide 100.9 app today.
Pressure treated pine from Great Southern Wood makes this 7 o'clock hour possible. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. All right, to the Yellowwood hotline, get Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, guys. Hope y'all are good today.
We're good.
Good. Texas, remember going back a few weeks ago, they struggled to beat Vanderbilt too. They were, I think it came down to an onside kick that wasn't executed very well, and they covered it up, and I believe they punched in a touchdown late to win 27-24, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they did win 27-24, and South Carolina went over there and smacked Vanderbilt around. So I don't know if you compare scores. I just don't. They have no good wins, and they're non-conference games. They did try to schedule hard with Michigan, but this is not a good Michigan team.
No, they're not.
So, I mean, you can't penalize them for that, but at the same time, they did play Texas San Antonio, La Monroe, and Colorado State. So then they get Mississippi State, and they get Georgia at home and can't take care of business, so they should be penalized a little bit for that. It doesn't seem like they are.
That's right. Their first 6 games, they weren't really tested at all. And then they they play Georgia, like I say, at home on the 19th of October and just got smacked around. And then the next week, had to really work hard to beat Vanderbilt in Nashville. A good win. I'm not taking anything away from winning that game. It was a good win, but they've not been, that, like you say, that impressive.
Mm-mm. They've got a break of the schedule. They get Florida too, and Florida's quarterback's out, and so the teams they played in this league are not. Think about this: a lot of these teams would have played Mississippi State. This Oklahoma team is not good. We'll give you the Vanderbilt's different. Florida's not good. They got Kentucky, who's not good, and they do have to end up at A&M. So their toughest conference games are Georgia and at Arkansas to be, and maybe at Vandy. So those are the toughest ones they have. So
yeah, and Texas A&M is down their top running back. So now we don't know how that game's going to work out. It's going to be tough. I think it'll be a great test for Texas to beat Texas A&M there in College Station, because it's going to be the Aggie fans are going to have a mat on.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great environment. Well, how do you feel about this weekend, Barry, in Alabama and Mercer? I've heard what you said, but that's a game that Alabama's got to go out and take care of business now because of all these factors. If it comes down to determining who goes and who doesn't.
Yeah, I don't see Mercer putting up much. I would think that last week's game kind of energized the guys, and I think they'll get to play a lot of people. So if you're a guy that hadn't gotten a lot of playing time, you probably ought to be really focused on this practice to give you an opportunity to show the coaches that maybe they've made a mistake playing a guy ahead of you. So hopefully they'll be able to play a lot of people. The game should, like I said, I just don't think Mercer is going to try to get all their guys hurt in a game like this. They know they're probably not going to win. So I look for Alabama to win comfortably, but try to probably run the ball, get the running game going, and I think it'll be an easy win for Alabama. You?
I don't know. Whip, I'll ask you this. Do you think Auburn will beat ULM?
The line's 24, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay, I think it is. Yeah, I think they will. Although I don't know if they'll beat the line or not.
Yeah.
That's the catch. It's a lot of points, and with him hurt. But I think they'll win, but I don't think they'll win by the line.
Yeah, I wish I knew what the Tennessee quarterback situation was going to be. I'd like to make my pick, but I just don't know yet what's going to happen.
They've tried to confuse you with that.
They have.
Yeah.
They have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, if he doesn't play, I've got to lean with Georgia. If he doesn't play, I'm leaning with Georgia.
Oh, really? I thought you were Tennessee.
I would if he was full-fledged going. I think I would.
Oh, I thought you were.
Yeah, if I would if he was full-fledged going to play in the game. I just don't know what his status is.
I mean, Philip, are you really concerned about Mercer coming here and beating Alabama?
No, I'm concerned about Alabama not playing a good game. I'm concerned about Alabama sort of slopping around.
Yeah, but it won't. I mean, even if they slop around, they're not going to move in the polls. Probably either way, they may move up. You know, it'd be interesting. Like I said, it'd be interesting to see if Georgia knocks off Tennessee, how they rank the SEC teams there. And it would really throw it in a mess if Texas were to go to Arkansas and lose as well. It'd be really interesting. That poll will be real interesting come Tuesday evening.
Sure will. Well, anyway, guys, y'all have a great day and take care of yourselves.
Thank you, Philip. It's an opportunity if you want to go watch Alabama play. It's a great opportunity to get tickets. I see people putting stuff out on social media about they're looking for tickets. To just go down there, guys. There'll be plenty of tickets. They might even turn their head and let you walk in the gate. The game's at 1 o'clock. It's on ESPN Plus. Now, I think they have a rule that every SEC team, I could be wrong, has to play on the Plus one time. Now, why is that, Chase? Why do you think they do that? Make every team in the SEC play on the Plus one time. Because they sell subscriptions. If you're watching that team, that's your ball club, and you want to watch it, then you got to buy the Plus. So if you want to see the game, you're going to have to get the Plus. So I did watch Auburn a little bit in Arkansas last night on the Plus. So you get a lot of basketball games on there if you enjoy watching that. All right, we'll take this break here. We'll get to JC, and we'll go around the SEC with our main man, JC. That's the Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A few here and there traffic woes starting in Cottondale. Watch out for this accident on 2059 eastbound after Tuscaloosa Coaling Highway 11, that is. It's on the right shoulder, but those main lanes are still a little slow with the looky-loos. And we're also looking at a fender bender on 359 northbound just before 2059. That one is on the right shoulder, so all the main lanes are still pretty much moving about. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Any lingering showers ending early this morning. A clearing sky this afternoon. The high 67. Mostly fair tonight. The low 46. Tomorrow and Saturday, the sky's sunny both days. The high tomorrow 64. The high Saturday at 69. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 61 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Two-time state champion and two-time NIT champion Barry Sanderson breaks down the latest in sports on Inside the Locker Room on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Pressure treated pine from Great Southern Wood. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. I was talking about these Alabama game Saturdays on ESPN Plus, and they make every team, but they put one of their games on the Plus to make you buy the Plus. Nelson, thank you for this, Nelson. He emails me and says, Alabama plays Purdue tomorrow in basketball. Guess what channel that's on? Peacock. So if you don't have Peacock and you want to watch Alabama-Purdue, guess what? You're going to have to go to somebody's got Peacock, or you're going to have to buy Peacock. Now, luckily, my wife is a TV nut, and she has Peacock. So
$7.99.
$7.99 a month?
$7.99 extra to your ESPN Plus. When you get on ESPN Plus, they give you the opportunity to go on to Peacock off ESPN Plus in $7.99.
Really? I didn't know that. Really? All right, well, Peacock's their own separate little app. I don't know if JC knows anything about Peacock, but he's the owner of the Big Spur. JC, they have got this thing figured out. They know how to sell. Everybody wants to watch Alabama-Purdue. You don't have Peacock, guess what? You better get Peacock.
Well, it's because you don't have, with all the cord cutting, you don't have librarians and scientists and musicians and people that don't care about sports. I mean, they're fine American people, don't get me wrong, but when they were forced to buy ESPN at $6 a month, there's plenty of money. But now they got to kind of tax the sports fans. But, yeah, South Carolina plays Indiana on Peacock on Saturday right before the football game. And so everybody in Columbia is trying to scramble to figure out. Peacock's interesting, too, because a lot of it's free. But then there's different levels of upgrades.
Yeah, not anything that you really want to watch is free. My wife's mad because she needs my DirecTV login. I can't remember because she's trying to watch Yellowstone on her iPad. And she just texted me and said I cannot use her Peacock until I get her where she can log into Yellowstone. So now she's trying to.
That's on Paramount Plus now.
Yeah.
And I'll do a shameless plug for 24/7 Sports. If you're a annual member of BamaOnline.com, you get Paramount Plus for free.
Really?
So there's a little
Peacocks are better than Peacocks.
Peacock. So
that's a good one, Coach.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think a lot of us down here in SEC country are trying to figure this whole thing out because ESPN. This is another. Behold the genius of Kevin Warren. Okay, this is this guy. What he did. All right, he tried to cancel college football during the pandemic unilaterally.
He was former commissioner of the Big Ten.
The commissioner of the Big Ten. Yeah. Okay, so he did that. He eliminated their relationship with ESPN and Disney completely. There's no Big Ten any sports on any unless they're a road game, at another conference. They're not on any of the ESPN channels at all, or Disney. He eliminated that. He stabbed the Pac-12 in the back. They had to refund $40 million to Fox because they overcharged them. And now he's in charge of the Chicago Bears.
Oh, yeah.
That guy's a genius.
He is. Well.
So, yeah. Everybody, because that's kind of what some of these TV deals people don't realize is, football, we're going to get to watch football. I mean, but things like basketball where there's a bunch of games and a lot of it streaming, you're kind of SOL sometimes. Yeah. I mean, because with a deal like that where it's primarily network television, they're not going to preempt whatever they're broadcasting to go with especially on a football Saturday, to go with a college basketball game this time of year. So,
so I watch a lot of college basketball and baseball on the Plus, so I have it. But if I didn't have it, I wouldn't buy it to watch Alabama Mercer, JC. I can promise you that. I wouldn't. Maybe some people will, but.
Hey, JC, you're kind of smart in all this stuff, and I've got a double blue plate that I'm thinking about doing. Why is the BYU game 2 points?
That's weird, Coach. I mean, we were talking about that on one of my shows earlier this week.
Well, thank you. I didn't think I was.
It's like Lee Corso used to say, what do they know that we don't? Now, Kansas, if you look at what Kansas has done this year, their record's bad, but all their games have kind of hung in the balance. It's been 1, 2, 3 points.
2 points?
Yeah, I mean, they came up with a big win against Iowa State, but maybe they're hitting their stride. I don't know. That line, it almost feels too good to be true. You know what I'm saying?
The last time Barry and I talked about a BYU game, we both thought it was bad, and if you'd bet BYU, you'd have won.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That is
BYU
weird. I would think if BYU was at Kansas, they'd be a 9-point favorite. This game's in Utah, and it's only 2.5.
Have you looked at the weather forecast?
How can I turn it down?
It's 34, and
you'll lose it.
It's 34 degrees out there too. By the way,
no, I wouldn't turn it down, but something's not right there.
It's weird to me. Very weird. So
weird. It's the most weird bet. 9-0 versus a team that's
3-6.
I can't explain it. I mean, I think I'm a pretty smart guy, but I can't.
I finally found something to stump you on. I'm proud of myself.
Congratulations.
All right, Jason, your next question. And I know why, because of the name. Texas has nothing on their resume. Nothing. They shouldn't be ahead of Indiana and these teams. They have the only good team they played other than Vanderbilt on the road is probably Georgia, and they got smacked. Why is Texas number 3?
Yeah, they got smacked in Austin, Barry. That was at home.
Yeah.
And Vanderbilt's their best win. I mean, that Michigan team they beat at the beginning of the year is average as grit.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not that good. It's funny to me. They're the highest-ranked SEC team, and then they're the only SEC team in the top 7.
Yeah.
I mean, and the guys, I've been preaching about this since the beginning of the year. Remember me talking about how the old school way of thinking, it's caveman thinking. It's like Captain Caveman, Oonga Boonga, 2 loss, not better than 1 loss, good, 2 loss, bad. This is not the AP poll days. This is not the BCS. This is a 12-team playoff. You have to factor this in. And I tell you, if I'm Greg Sankey, the way it's kind of shaping up, if it ends now, what matters ultimately is how it ends up, But if it ends up this way, and SEC teams with 3 losses or 2 losses get screwed, and you got some, runner-up in the Big 12, 10-2 that gets in over 9-3 or something like that, that's just going to fuel the fire for the SEC doing their own thing and taking the Big 10 with them. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, the standard that they put on these Southeastern Conference football teams when it's clear. I mean, it's not ironic that the team with the easiest draw in the league this year, and they haven't had to go through a gauntlet like LSU or A&M or name your team, Alabama. I mean, look, you look back at Alabama, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Tennessee, back to back to back. That's a pretty brutal stretch.
Yeah.
And Georgia, that's a pretty difficult 4-game stretch. You wouldn't think it at the beginning of the year, but it ended up being, and it's just, there's just void of reality in these things. And it's like, man, I mean, there's going to be more chaos. It's not, one of these things is not like the other, as Greg Sankey said, and it's grossly unfair. If any of the top 9 or 10 teams in the SEC were in the ACC, they'd be undefeated or 1 loss at most. I mean, I can't even even if they were in the Big 10 with certain schedules, these records will be much better. It's you have to start applying common sense to this thing, and then you look at the projected bracket. And I've just come to the conclusion now that with because when you look at it now that it's real, it's not a tournament bracket like in basketball. The seedings, it's more like a roadmap almost to get to the championship. Because once you get to the quarters, the teams that got the buys, maybe only one of them will be even favored in those games. And so it's just kind of maybe 2. It's kind of strange to me just how it's all working out. I think it's grossly unfair, and they're probably going to need to do something about this.
I think they should change it. If, like, for instance, Clemson somehow gets to the ACC championship game and wins it, they shouldn't be a top 4 seed. That should get you in the playoff, but not a top 4 seed if you win your conference. It should be the top 4 teams to get the four seeds.
Here's what I think is going to happen, Barry. I think 12 is a temporary number. They're talking about 14. I don't like that either. I think they're going to go to 16 because I think these on-campus games, that weekend's going to be so fun.
Yeah.
Because for the first time ever, we're going to have cold weather games in college football in a playoff or postseason situation. We've never had that because all the bowls are in warm weather. Championship games are in domes or in warm weather. I mean, you're going to have teams going to South Bend State College in December. That's going to be insane. So it's going to be so fun and such a big deal for these schools on campus. Everybody's going to want a home game, and that's going to be something to shoot for. And so I think they'll go to 16. And then when they do that, what you do is, like you said, all right, so, you get an auto bid to the playoffs if you win League A, B, C. And then they need to get some kind of computer metrics involved to go with the humans to say, all right, here's how you seed these guys. These are the 8 best teams. They get the home game based on strength of schedule, metrics, who they played, and then you seed them accordingly. And that would be way more fair, in my opinion, because even for the team, let's say Oregon, who's probably deserving of the number 1 seed, they're going to turn around in the quarterfinals, and they're going to have to play Ole Miss, or they're going to have to play Alabama, or they're going to have to play somebody like that. Whereas, like the team that's the 5th seed, Notre Dame, let's say Notre Dame gets number 5, then they get to go play BYU or a Miami team that still isn't all that good. And so who's got the easier path, Notre Dame or Oregon?
Yeah,
Notre Dame. So it's. I looked at it and I was like, this isn't a bracket. This is a roadmap. It's almost like when they used to before the playoff, 14 playoff, they floated a +1. They're like, let's just play all the bowls and then vote on who the top 2 teams are, and then we'll play a championship game off of that. That's kind of how it's shaping up because these quarterfinal matchups in the quote unquote bowl games are not going to be evenly distributed.
Yeah, I agree.
If South Carolina were to beat Clemson, could they get in?
Everybody's been talking about that in Columbia. It says the ESPN predictor, which I don't like, but I'll just go ahead and cite it. Right now, it's at 14%. Now, you can put in your results. If they went out right now, it's 47%. So there's about a 50-50 chance. South Carolina needs for there to be as many upsets as possible down the stretch. In other words, like you're going to need like a Georgia Tech beating a Georgia, possibly Vanderbilt beating Tennessee. They need A&M to actually win because that's an impressive win. I was just sitting there thinking about it. South Carolina's resume versus, say, Tennessee. If they lose to Georgia, Tennessee still got that win over Alabama. South Carolina, the best team they've beaten is Texas A&M. Had they beaten LSU or Bama, I think they'd be in good shape, to be honest. And I think honestly, guys, I mean, I'm not being a homer. Right now, South Carolina's playing as good as anybody.
Yeah.
And if they win this weekend against Missouri, that's the first time in program history they've ever won 3 straight games against ranked teams. I don't know. Now, you say what you want. I don't know if Missouri should be ranked, but Vandy was ranked, A&M was ranked, blah, blah, blah. And then you're talking about a 2-point loss at Bama where they could have easily, if they complete one pass at the end, they're kicking a field goal to walk it off. And then they got robbed against LSU. So the only blemish is really that Ole Miss game. And so it's going to be a year if they don't end up sneaking in to where you're looking back going, man, they were really close. But they've got an opportunity. And I think if you're South Carolina, you're picked 13th in the league this year. You got a redshirt freshman quarterback that you had to get better and play to really, become the quarterback they thought. They had some injury issues at receiver. Just being in the hunt's good enough right now in year 4 of the Shane Beamer era. And check this out about Shane Beamer. Here's a stat I'll throw at you. He has more top 10 wins than James Franklin.
Shouldn't he be SEC Coach of the Year? I know everybody's screaming about the guy at Vanderbilt, but he's smacked, man. I think Shane Beamer should be SEC Coach of the Year. if they went out.
I will disagree with you on this point, Barry, because I went to the game in Nashville, and just as an old talent evaluator, you watch teams warm up, and it looked like Alabama on one side and Western Kentucky on the other.
Yeah,
that Vandy team, that they have a quarterback that's Superman. I mean, I don't agree with his litigation and suing the NCAA and all that, but Diego Pavia is a great football player. So they have him. They have a tough defense that's very well coached. They never get out of position. They tackle. They're probably the most well coached team I've seen because they have no business even being in games. I mean, but still, even in that South Carolina game, guys, in their stadium they keep the yards on the screen. They don't do that everywhere. So I'm looking up. It's raining. It's the second quarter. There's about a 300-pound Vandy fan that sat next to me. I'm squeezed up there because I'm a big guy, too. My poor wife, she had some cocktails, and she's just talking about this, that, and the other. And I'm looking up at the scoreboard, and South Carolina's got 182 yards. Vanderbilt's got 27, and it's nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is how Vandy wins games. I mean, they just – it's the kill zone, Jerry Kill. So I'd have to, just looking at the talent discrepancy, because Vanderbilt's very average everywhere else, talent-wise. I mean, they just don't have players, but they are 6-4, and so I'd give it to them. But man, I'm not going to be upset if Shane Beamer wins it. I mean, that would be awesome.
Well, the thing plays out if South Carolina wins out and Vandy drops a game or two. I think Shane Beamer should get it because, like you said,
Vandy's got LSU and Tennessee.
There was 5,000 listeners turned the radio off, and you said that.
Said what?
Vanderbilt's no good now. Vanderbilt's no good.
Yeah,
Vanderbilt's good. I mean, they're just all hearts and guts and discipline, and they're the kind of team that you don't want to play. I mean, I thought that was a really good win for the Gamecocks because they beat them worse than anybody has. Of course, Vandy. We talk about the schedule. Vandy was coming off a 6-game gauntlet, and they hadn't had an open date in 6 weeks. I think they were running out of gas, to be honest with you. And playing that defense South Carolina has will run you out of gas. But it was a big win, and Vandy's got LSU and Tennessee to close out. So I don't know how they'll do there, but it wouldn't surprise me to see them upset one of those teams.
Chase, pull us up a sound effect of a baby crying because this was what's going to happen. JC, Georgia's going to beat Tennessee this weekend, and when the new poll comes out, is in the SEC, is going to be Alabama's going to be ranked ahead of those two. It's going to be Alabama, Georgia, and then Tennessee. And the Tennessee fans they're going to be crying because they beat Alabama. But when you look at the three, Alabama beats Georgia. They got more wins against the top 25 than those guys. They're going to put them right ahead of those, and they're going to put Georgia ahead of Tennessee because they won the head-to-head, and Tennessee's going to be there mad as a hornet.
I don't agree.
They are, I'm telling you. Rank them, JC. If Tennessee gets beat this weekend, how do you rank those three if you're the committee?
It largely depends because the game's in Athens, right?
Yeah.
And so it largely depends. Like, so let's say Georgia wins by a field goal. And I don't know about that, because then you're like, well, Bama beat Georgia, but they can't, and you're kind of comparing it, all that. But you're right about the big wins. I mean, nobody's gone to LSU and beaten them like that in a long time. I mean, except for the pandemic years.
I mean, that's South Carolina
when they're
win's
back.
A good win. That's a great win, South Carolina. Now,
yeah, hey, that's Ole Miss. South Carolina's their second most impressive win this year. And yeah, I mean, I think as South Carolina wins, and if you're Alabama, you're pulling for South Carolina, Vanderbilt. You're probably not pulling for Tennessee because they're Tennessee, but Alabama has not had an easy schedule. I mean, the easiest schedule in the league is Texas, like I said. Second easiest is probably Missouri was, but I don't think, with them having to go to Carolina and then Arkansas is better than people thought, it may not be as easy as we thought. Texas does have their mini gauntlet. It's not really a gauntlet because they got Arkansas on the road. then they got Kentucky at home, and then they go to A&M. So that 3 games is the toughest stretch they've had all year. They got way more talent than any of those teams. A&M can kind of match up with them, but 2 of them are on the road. And, Arkansas fans, everybody talks, because they play Missouri, and the SEC's tried to manufacture that into a rivalry. Texas is there hated. I mean, they hate Texas. I mean, it's in Fayetteville, and the Pit Boss will have them fired up, and Bobby Petrino will have a few tricks up his sleeves. If they don't turn the ball over, I think they give them a game.
That. Yeah, I like that game.
The college football playoff, wouldn't have said this about 5 weeks ago, JC, it needs Colorado. How exciting if prime time takes them to the playoff. And they're 7-2, and they got Utah at Kansas and Oklahoma State. They can run that and get to the Big 12 championship game. Any chance prime time gets in the playoff?
I'd like to see it. I mean, I'm not a Dion hater. I mean, but I also love. I mean, I like Colorado because when I grew up, they were Bill McCartney was the coach there, one of the finest individuals to ever coach the game, and his daughter had married one of the quarterbacks, and unfortunately, quarterback had cancer and died. And I remember that story. I remember Darian Hagan. I remember them playing Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. They've got good fans. I love their mascot, Ralphie. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing them in. But I'll tell you this right now, that's not an easy stretch. Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State. All 3 of those teams were predicted to finish top 3 in the Big 12, and for various reasons. And this is probably why that line for that Kansas game's like it is. For various reasons, they haven't played well. Mike Gundy, he's still got the same players. He's still the same coach. Utah scared the you-know-what out of BYU and probably should have won the game had it not been for a terrible call. And then all of a sudden, Kansas is the darling of Las Vegas. I mean, they could just as easily finish 7-5. But, if you ask me, would I like it if Colorado made it? Heck yeah, I would, man. That would be great. That would be nice.
You don't think Prime would eat that up from where he took that program?
Could you imagine if they got if they win Big 12 will probably only get one in. So yeah, they'd have a bye to the Fiesta Bowl.
Who's doing a better job? Who's doing a better job, Dion or stinking Hugh Freeze, JC? I mean, they talk about what Hugh Freeze inherited. What about what Dion inherited? So I don't want to hear about no Hugh Freeze.
and then went 4 and then hung a 8-game losing streak on the board and got his tail whipped by Nebraska, which has all kinds of problems. By the way, did you see Nebraska finally got rid or demoted their OC? He was the guy at South Carolina that I complained about for 2 years.
You did.
And he brought in Dana freaking Holgorsen. Dana Holgorsen's one of the funniest, strangest coaches I've ever. It's weird because it's a stark departure from what they were doing. So that was funny. But yeah, got his tail whipped by Nebraska, and then all of a sudden they start winning. I mean, and you got to give credit to him. I mean, I think Travis Hunter deserves the Heisman because we have not seen a true two-way player. Like Charles Woodson wasn't really a two-way player. Travis Hunter, though, if you're going to give it to the best player in the country, I think it has to be him. Then Deion's son has played pretty well. I've never been completely sold on him until this year, but he's making the plays.
Yeah.
So you're telling me in front of all these thousands of listeners that as you leave this show today, that you could honestly blue plate BYU and give the 2 against a basketball school.
Oh, maybe that's a basketball line.
Can you believe that?
No, Kansas would be about a 14-point favorite. They're good. Hey, I was in Nashville on Friday night, right, at a bar, and I happened to stumble into the Kansas Jayhawk basketball watch party. They played North Carolina. Here's my theory on North Carolina basketball, guys. It's never boring. Tar Heel basketball is never boring. It's never a boring brand of basketball. And it was a heck of a game. Kansas got up big. Tar Heels came back, took the lead. Kansas won. That's a passionate bunch of freaking basketball people. 92-89 is a great basketball game, but if it was basketball, they'd probably be about a 10-point favorite.
The most overrated coach in college basketball right now is John Calipari. You watch them play.
They couldn't guard me.
So they're not playing defense again?
They're just, good. They don't. They got a 7-footer that makes a bunch of threes, and that's about it.
Hey, I don't think we should get into this, but how about Florida's coach? As if they didn't have enough problems in Gainesville. Wow.
Well, so I only know this because of my kids. So I guess they on Snapchat, they'll send that stuff, and then it goes. Chase, help me. Is it vanish mode where it goes away? So I bet you everything he sent probably went away, and so now it's your word again. Is there any way to go back and check that to find out stuff that was sent? Did it went away?
A long time ago, when I was recently single and dating younger women, I got Snapchat and I deleted it. But yeah, you can screenshot it. You can screenshot anything. I think it does send. I think Snapchat sends the other person a notification when you screenshot it. I have no idea, but it's going to be hard without proof. I mean, the times we live in. I just thought, man, the athletic director there, Scott Strickland. I mean, it's like a very unpopular decision with the average fan to keep Napier. Although I think it's probably the right one because I don't think they were getting Kiffin. And then all of a sudden, your basketball coach, you got a promising team. You got a 7'9" guy, which is crazy.
You don't even play.
Yeah, I mean, that's still crazy though.
Yeah.
But they're good. They're a good team. I mean, and all of a sudden this comes out, and I'm like, man, it's just not. It's not been a good run in Gainesville for a long time.
No. All right, JC, tell everybody where they can get you.
All right, download the Chief Sports app. It's on Google Play. It's on the App Store on Apple. Listen to JC and Morgan College Football Podcast. We had Tom Luganbill, the great Tom Luganbill, on yesterday, and he's always full of great opinions. Doing his thing for the ACC Network and ESPN now. Really a lot of good stuff to say about the playoff and all that good stuff. You can go to jcandmorgan.com to get that as well. Podcast version is on iTunes and also on Google Play. So the JC and Morgan College Football Podcast is where you can hear more of my witty banter and intelligent conversation.
Thank you, JC.
Thank you, JC.
Thanks, fellas.
All right. Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine brought you this 7 o'clock hour possible. Always remember, guys, if it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. Phone lines will be open just about the entire second hour, 205-342-9904. Also, the Blue Play, I think we know where that's going. I'm texting a guy right now asking him why. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Isaac Lowenkron.
There were two 50-point games on Wednesday night in the NBA. Milwaukee's Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 59 in their 127-120 overtime win over the Detroit Pistons. He also had 14 rebounds and 7 assists. Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs had the first 50-point game of his career in their 139-130 win over Washington. He scored his 50 points in just 32 minutes, including 8 three-pointers. LeBron James had a triple-double in the Los Angeles Lakers' 128-123 win over the Memphis Grizzlies. The Cleveland Cavaliers became the 6th team in NBA history to open a season 13-0, thanks to a 114-106 victory at Philadelphia. And Kobe White of the Chicago Bulls made 3 clutch free throws with 3 seconds remaining for a 124-123 win over the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Thursday mornings are one of our favorites on the Gary Harris Show. We're packed with content. Beginning at 9 a.m., the coach Ellis Johnson on SEC Football at 9:30. D. Orlando Ledbetter with the Falcons Report at 10. And Jeff Spiegel at 10:30, plus your phone calls. That's the Gary Harris Show, Thursday morning at 9 a.m.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A few here and there traffic woes starting in Cottondale. Watch out for this accident on 2059 eastbound after Tuscaloosa Coaling, Highway 11, that is. It's on the right shoulder, but those main lanes are still a little slow with the looky-loos. And we're also looking at a fender bender on 350.
What's a corn farmer's favorite dog? A husky.
Some things shouldn't be flat. But with GHX, you can maximize your acres with one flat price. While other brands sell by the bag, we sell seed by the acre to maximize your yield and profit potential. Our custom seed recommendations combine extensive product characterization and agronomic expertise to get the right product, population, and placement, all for one flat price per acre. Learn how at ghxseed.com/connect.
With 35 tracks on CD and vinyl. Only at Target.
Inside the locker room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Andrew Conifer. Andrew's my Allstate insurance agent. Let him become yours. He's out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. Give Andrew and the staff a call, 205-722-9201. You're looking for home, life, auto. Andrew and the staff will take great care of you. So give them a call today. Tell them you heard it on Inside the Locker Room. All right. We also will release the Blue Plate Special a little bit later. I think I did ask a guy, and he said, well, everybody in America will be taking BYU. So he said, that's why you should take Kansas. I said, that's not a reason. I need a reason. So he thinks somehow Vegas knows. So you put that out there, and everybody takes BYU, and then somehow Kansas wins, and everybody says, how do they know? How do they know? Then if you don't take it and you sit there and say, that was so easy, they were giving us a layup right there. So what other games are you looking at besides that BYU Kansas?
I've looked real hard at Texas and Arkansas. I think Texas wins it. I just do. I think they're pretty darn good. And then I've got the Blue Plate that it hadn't been many really good ones to. I like South Alabama and not South Alabama. I forgot there was one weak game that I thought about looking at, but I've got the Blue Plate that I guess I'll wait to. You want me to do it now? I'll wait to the bottom of the hour.
I didn't know if you were getting off a little early, but
I won't stay on until, because I can't do what I need to do. It's probably going to be.
So we'll wait. We'll wait. We don't want to lose all the listeners that we got, Chase. And so you said that you did not think Alabama would be ranked ahead of Tennessee and Georgia with a Georgia win. How are you justifying that?
I just think in Tennessee beating Alabama is going to hurt Alabama.
Yeah, but Alabama beat Georgia.
But with their ranking against Tennessee.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you got the three of them.
I ain't never right. So
but I'm saying they have to look at the schedule. So if you rank Tennessee ahead of Alabama, then you can't rank Tennessee ahead of Georgia because they just beat Tennessee. So, but then you'd have them ahead of Alabama, and Alabama has better wins.
Well, I guess I'm wrong
than those guys.
I just think that head to head means so much.
But that's what I'm saying. You on the head to head there. Alabama beat Georgia. Georgia beat Tennessee. Tennessee beat Alabama. So if that's the case, then you got to go down and look at the strength of schedule and their wins and all that when those three are tied. Now, if Texas loses to Arkansas and you got those four right there, that will be interesting to see how. I would think Texas, sorry, Digger, should be last of all those because they have nothing on their resume. So Texas should fall below Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia if they were to drop the game
Texas and Notre Dame will never fall as far as you think they should.
Is it fair that Notre Dame doesn't even have to be in a conference, but they still can get in the playoff, where those non-power 5 teams, only the highest ranked one? Notre Dame's like their own conference. And they played well, I guess.
Back to the years that Coach Brown was there before that, Newt Rockney and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and all that hullabaloo. Plus, they're probably, without me being ugly, it's not being ugly. There's probably several Catholics on the voting committee.
Yeah, we got an app message here. I have watched several Alabama football games on standard YouTube, not YouTube TV, for free this season. Maybe on Bob's Backhoe service channel, but you can watch that means you don't have cable. You got to have cable. I mean, Alabama's been on ESPN or ABC. I always listen to the game on the Tide 109 website. It does get out of sync a bit, but it works. Yeah, come on, Michael.
I tried to watch a game last night on ESPN Plus, Auburn game. It was the worst reception I've ever seen. I just turned it on my iPad.
All right, I can't wait for this call. Let's get to the Yellowwood hotline. I've been very critical of Texas today, so I know that has Digger all stirred up. Digger, y'all have nothing on your resume, Zippo, other than your name. Good morning.
That's why we got to TCB it.
What does TCB it mean?
Take care of business. Win these 3 games, which is not going to be
why
easy.
Why y'all rate number 3, Digger? That's a joke.
Well, who's supposed to be ahead of us in the SEC?
Alabama.
Why?
Because they got better wins.
Georgia.
You got 2 losses.
Georgia smacked you around. Name your best win.
You got 2 losses.
Name your best win. But y'all haven't played anybody. Why are y'all ahead of Indiana? Why are you ahead of Indiana?
You're not getting me.
Why are y'all ahead of Indiana?
You're not getting any sympathy out of me about this. I know the schedule is weak, and it's not our fault.
But I'm saying,
the schedule.
I'm not saying you shouldn't be in the top 12, but you shouldn't be ahead of Penn State. You shouldn't be ahead of Indiana. You shouldn't be ahead of BYU, and you shouldn't be ahead of Tennessee.
Well, to correct that, Digger, next year you ought to ask for a tougher schedule.
Well, hey, look, the reason why we got the schedule we wanted because Arkansas and A&M said we'll play them, but we get the first home game. That's what started all this. So
That's
it's not
ugly.
on us. Not on us, okay? We're still having to play A&M and Arkansas in their turf. Okay, now real quick, we're ahead of Tennessee because they got a bad loss. They lost to Arkansas. They're looking at it. This committee's looking at it. If you beat Georgia at home, that's nothing more than taking care of business. Okay? Your toughest game at home and you win, that's TCB. You took care of business. Now, the problem in Texas has we lost to Georgia, but it's only 1 loss. Okay? You got to throw
who's
me
your
a
best
bone
win?
here.
What's your best win?
There isn't one.
So why
That's
are you
why
number
we
3?
have to win out.
Why are you ahead of Indiana and BYU then?
The reason because Indiana doesn't have any ranked wins.
It doesn't. Neither does other than
That's
Vanderbilt.
Hey, look. That's why
Vanderbilt's nice.
BYU should be ahead of Texas. That's why A&M should be ahead of Texas. They all got a ranked win.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm telling you. I'm with you on that. They got it all ass backwards.
All right, so you're agreeing with me.
I am, but
Nice.
you're wishing upon me that Arkansas beat Texas.
I am.
Okay, that ain't going to happen.
I don't know
I don't
about
want
that.
it to happen.
I don't know about that.
True.
No, it ain't going to happen. You're right. I agree.
Well, the thing is, we got to understand this. That is an explosive offense. They're getting everybody back. This is their game of the year. This is their Super Bowl. Granted, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I think that Alabama's going to run into that at Oklahoma next week. It's going to be their
And
Super
the
Bowl.
only saving grace is the game is at 11. Holy cow. Can you imagine what it would have been like at night? Those moonshiners out there?
Yeah.
Holy cow. Love it.
Yeah.
Let you go.
Digger agreed with me. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Digger's pretty good. He's
I
pretty
think
good.
Digger tries to be fair.
Digger does. Yeah, he's fair.
I was trying to say what Alabama wasn't playing well, but now that, after that, of course, you only remember the last game, they didn't look like a top 12 team, but they did after beating LSU like a drum. And then people are wanting to know, why did LSU score the touchdown at the end? Because margin of victory is one of the tiebreakers, people. So when people keep trying to score, that is why. All right, so don't say that anymore. That's why. You have to cover your tracks just in case it comes down to that. So it's better to get beat, whatever it is, 40-something to 13 than it is 40-something to 6, right, Chase? Right?
Different nowadays. You everything is counted. You have to get all your ducks in a row. If not, you're going to be looking at the end of the season, why didn't we make it? And tie differential is,
would you not be so mad if we said if we'd have scored one more touchdown, we would have
exactly
been ranked higher. That's all we need was that one touchdown or one stop. There you go. So, all right, that's that. All right, we'll take the first break here in this 8 o'clock hour. We'll up at the phone lines 205-342-9904. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Oh, we got a busy one on this Thursday morning. First, Cottondale trouble on 2059 eastbound after Tuscaloosa Coaling. This is involving a tractor trailer that ran into the grass, so wreckers and crews are on the scene. Meanwhile, it's blocking the right shoulder. Also, 2059 eastbound at 69, you do have a fender bender blocking that left lane.
What's a corn farmer's favorite dog? A husky.
Some things shouldn't be flat. But with GHX, you can maximize your acres with one flat price. While other brands sell by the bag, we sell seed by the acre to maximize your yield and profit potential. Our custom seed recommendations combine extensive product characterization and agronomic expertise to get the right product, population, and placement, all for one flat price per acre. Learn how at ghxseed.com/connect.
ChowsCountryBuffet.com. Call 205-810-8888. The all-new Chow's Country Buffet, Skyland Boulevard. Join us for a meal to remember.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Any lingering showers ending early this morning. A clearing sky this afternoon. The high 67. Mostly fair tonight. The low 46. Tomorrow and Saturday, the sky's sunny both days. The high tomorrow 64. The high Saturday at 69. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 62 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. Its daily update on Bama sports and is brought to you by The Good Feet Store. The Good Feet Store is a proud supporter of the Alabama Crimson Tide. For over 25 years, The Good Feet Store has been helping people get back to the life they love without their feet getting in the way. Start your journey at goodfeet.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On Thursday's edition of Crimson Tribe, driven by NASCAR, we'll be joined by Alabama defensive back Deshaun Jones.
What can you tell us about the tackle for a loss you had against the Tigers?
During that moment, my number was called, and I was ready for the moment. I made a good play, great tackle for loss. I was excited. I seen myself celebrate with Jahad Campbell. So it was just an exciting moment for one of my plays in my career.
To do that against an LSU offense that put up a lot of points against a lot of SEC teams, what does that mean for this defense?
It means a lot. It shows that we are competitive, what we really want, what we really competing for. We had to make this game a staple for what we want in the long run. So
I'll have more in a moment.
This is Christian Miller for The Good Feet Store. I know from playing football at Alabama and in the NFL that if you have foot, knee, hip, or back pain, it can be a huge challenge. The Good Feet Store is designed to personally fit you with arch supports that alleviate and even eliminate your pain altogether. Try them before you buy them. They're in your free, no obligation, personalized fitting, and you can wear them home the same day. So if you're looking to improve your game, The Good Feet Store has you covered. Stop in for a free, personalized fitting today. Roll to victory at goodfeet.com. That's goodfeet.com. Roll Tide.
Join us this afternoon for Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, streaming live at 2 p.m. Central on all CTSN social media platforms. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Mr. SEC Tournament Wimp Sanderson gives you his excellent analysis every weekday on Inside the Locker Room, right here on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Tuscaloosa Toyota. Go to the website, TuscaloosaToyota.com. They're actually hiring. You can go on there and apply. Looking for sales professionals and service advisors. Very competitive paid plan, 401k with match, Blue Cross Blue Shield, paid vacation, paid training. If you're looking for vehicles, you can look right there at the website. Look at the new inventory, the pre-owned, schedule a service. You want to rent a Toyota, you can do it right there at the website, or swing by Skyland Boulevard, see David, see Justin. They'll take great, great care of you. Tuscaloosa Toyota. Get by there today. Tell them that Wimp and Barry sent you. All right, get to the Tuscaloosa Toyota hotline. Get Tom in. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, Tom. Morning, Barry. Morning, Coach. How y'all?
All right. How are you?
Terrible. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. You know, that BYU thing makes me wonder if they didn't have a bunch of players to leave out on mission.
Something's not right. But
I wonder, isn't it this time of year when they fold, and it's because a bunch of kids have to go out and do their mission thing? I'm not sure, but I think isn't that right?
I don't know. I would be guessing. Did they leave during the middle of football season?
Well, I think that's more important than football out there, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I would be guessing if I said yes. I have no idea. So.
And you know, you were talking about schedules, who's got a tough one, who don't earlier. And I've been thinking this for the whole time this year, with the way Georgia and Alabama's schedule was, and then Texas, you know, not as tough as everybody else, and all this kind of stuff. And I think that what's happened is the conference schedule people is backfired on them, and this is what I mean. I think that when they sit down, they started thinking about schedules. They said, how can we get as many teams in the playoffs as we possibly can? We can throw any kind of schedule we want to at Georgia and Alabama. They're going to be in there. They just assumed that. And then they were trying to help the others out to get as many teams as they could in the schedule. And I think it's fooled around and backfired on them, because one thing they didn't figure on was how equal the competition is within the conference.
It is equal, but then there's some teams that have really underachieved this year. Kentucky, obviously Auburn has been a big disappointment. I think Arkansas's been a disappointment. To really be honest with you, Georgia's been a disappointment. So it is balanced, but there have been a lot of disappointments in the league, don't you think?
Well, it's chaotic. It's chaotic, and we're saying balanced, but maybe it's chaotic because there's more balance than it's been in a while. But it is strange. So listening to your conversation with JC and so forth, it's kind of strange as to what's happened. But
do you agree with us that they got to adjust this playoff format? That, you know, if you're a team and win your conference, you don't deserve a 4 seed. You deserve to get in the playoff, but not a 4 seed. Let's get everybody in and then rank them 1 through 12 and give the real top 4 teams the bye. If it happens to be 2-1 conference, so be it. But to give a team a bye that doesn't really deserve it because they won some mediocre league and they won that one game, to me doesn't seem right. It'll end up screwing another team based on the pairings there. And if you go to 16, man, you get those top 8 home games, because these home games are going to be great, I think. So get more of those. That's probably the better way to do it, don't you think?
I agree with that. I really do. I think get everybody that's qualified to be in the playoffs, then start handing out buys and all such as that, and ranking them. But I think JC's on something that I've said all along. I would go and use the BCS computer formula, and that's how I would do the things. That thing was so accurate, it wasn't funny every year. And everybody poo-pooed, you got to have the human factor. And then when you have the human factor, it ain't what everybody thought it should be. And but I think the BCS formula ought to be applied now.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, I think that's probably a lot of truth in that. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We're fixing to we're fixing to get off this and going to come back with a blue plate. I'm at Sam. I'm in Sam. No, wait a minute. I don't say this, Tom. I'm at Sam's the other day getting gas. And it's been, I don't know how many days I've tried to figure. I lost my credit card, and I lost my money clip that I've had since I came to Alabama in 1960. And I had $100 on it. And I know that's not very nice for me to ask. If anybody found that, anybody found that, is it Sam's over there on Highway 31, off of 31. I wish you'd call Chase or Barry or somebody and tell me you found it, hide it somewhere, and I'll give you some more money.
Did you check the pockets of everything that you had on?
I've checked. I have looked for over 3.5 hours in 4 days. And I can't remember.
Well, I hate that because I hate to lose my stuff.
Yeah.
And that money clip, I hate you lost that.
and I can't believe you only had $100 on that clip.
Well, it may be
Tom,
more than that. I don't
usually
know.
he has about 1,000 on that clip.
I do not have no 1,000.
Oh my God!
Oh, I know that. Barry makes up crap, Tom.
He has more than you have more than 100 on that clip.
Well, sometimes I doubt it.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying you carry.
I ain't got no 1,000.
Most people carry a card. You carry cash.
I'll say this to you, Tom. I lose a lot of stuff.
I do too.
When I stuck my credit cards in there and pulled them out and put them in the little place where I keep them, I thought I've gone through the bottom of my car, both of my cars, probably 30 times with a flashlight, and I can't find it.
You know what'll happen though, Tom? Right? As soon as you cancel it, you'll find it.
Oh yeah. Oh man, ain't that right?
Yeah.
I tell you what happened. I'm always losing debit card and have to go to the bank every other week. Yeah. And the last time here, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I lost it somewhere and had it in my pocket and was pulling something out, and it fell out, and I didn't know it. And so I go up there to the bank. I walk out of the bank, get in the car to go to the house, and what I do, I get a phone call from the police in Carrollton. We found your debit card. I said, well, just throw it away. You're right, though. As soon as you cancel it,
you'll find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, Tom.
Y'all have a good one.
Thank you.
All
right. Back to the Yellowwood hotline. We'll get Philip, then we'll get the break, and we'll get back and get the blue plate. Or do you need to go and do it now?
No, y'all. Well,
right.
I got to leave it. I'll tell you what, Philip's generally talking to you anyway, so I'm going to leave, and y'all come back on. I don't think he's got come back on, and I'm going to get off and call me back. Call me back.
All right. Go ahead, Philip.
Well, this was for Wimp. I was going to tell him that I've been thinking about this Tennessee-Georgia game all wrong. It's going to be about defense. Tennessee 17, Georgia 16.
17-16.
Tennessee's going to win. I've been thinking about it all wrong. I've been thinking about the
Georgia's out of the playoff.
They're out of the playoffs.
They're out.
They're done.
Will Kirby get some flack over that?
Well, yeah, he will, but he's.
I'm not saying.
He's face to that program, and he's disappointing for sure for them. But I think Tennessee's going to win it with defense, and they've got a good defensive team.
Is Kirby, you got that Pope kid celebrating on the field with Ole Miss. You got all those off the field problems. So you're going to have to tighten the reins over there a little bit. You had that Scott Cochran situation going on. If that was all going on, surely they had to know. There had to be some signs of that stuff going on. Those guys can't be caught off guard.
I just, when Kirby said that about that boy, I think think how it made that kid's family feel. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he said that about him, but if you were his sister or brother or parent, you're just crushed by that comment.
Yeah.
It would be if I was a parent. It pissed me off.
Yeah.
But just think if Saban had said it.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be on CBS News.
It didn't get a lot of, two things happened this year with Kirby. That happened, and then, he shoved a guy on the sideline, and that got no publicity at all. Was that Mississippi State? I don't even know what game that was.
Yeah,
it was Mississippi State.
If you had not been on X, would you even have known it?
And that was a straight-out shove, too, Barry.
Yeah. He should have been suspended for a game.
Barry, what if you'd have done that?
Yeah. Why did he get away with that? Nobody said anything.
I don't know. But anyway, Wilt's going to find that credit card. Hopefully he's checked with the store.
Yeah, he'll find it. It's probably sitting somewhere. He's looking at it every day.
But see that store, it's on top of the refrigerator.
Yeah. Nah, well, they can't put it on top. It's, I don't know where it is, but he's lost it. But I promise you this, there's more than $100 on that money clip. I guarantee you that.
Oh, I believe that, too. I believe his. But he'll find it. It's going to be at home. In the garage on the floor.
Yeah, there you go. I'll tell him look in the garage. Thank you, Phil.
All right, man. Yeah.
All right, Bryant Bank, if you're looking for a traditional bank experience with bankers who call you by your name, then we invite you to go to the down-home people there at Bryant Bank. They're great friends of ours. They'll be do a great job for you. There's 4 offices here in the Tuscaloosa area. You can experience unbeatable service and legendary results close to home. Need a bank that offers a balance of great service and the latest technology? Then Bryant Bank customers enjoy your online banking. They're easy to access that. Dad's having an issue now with that card, so he can just go on there and or he'll have to have somebody do that for him. Go on there and cut that card off, and then you can go down there and get you a new card. But Bryant Bank has done a great job for our family for numerous years. Swing by there today. Open up an account, a checking account, a business account. I promise you'll be well pleased. And tell them that Wimp and Barry sent you. Listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Oh, we got a busy one on this Thursday morning. First, Cottondale trouble on 2059 eastbound after Tuscaloosa Coaling. This is involving a tractor trailer that ran into the grass, so wreckers and crews are on the scene. Meanwhile, it's blocking the right shoulder. Also, 2059 eastbound at 69, you do have a fender bender blocking that left lane, and so it's got traffic pretty backed up to 359. 359 northbound before 2059, that fender bender on the right shoulder. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
Care of any problems you got with a damp crawl space or a crack in your foundation. They even do pest control and lawn care. Full service Alabama Professional Services at alabamaprofessional.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Any lingering showers ending early this morning. A clearing sky this afternoon. The high 67. Mostly fair tonight. The low 46. Tomorrow and Saturday, the sky's sunny both days. The high tomorrow 64. The high Saturday at 69. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 62 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Alabama fans are all over the world, and we are too. Download the Tide 100.9 app right now in the App Store and Google Play, and take the Crimson Tide everywhere you go.
Inside Line. I appreciate JC being on with us. Pretty interesting interview. I think he has some good ideas about maybe the direction they need to go with the playoffs. I didn't think about that, guys, when he was talking about you play all these games in the warm weather or dome and the bowls, but man, when they get to these home games, you got to go into cold weather games. Those would be pretty interesting to. Those would be bad for the players to play in, but it'd be interesting. And if you go to 16, you have 8 good home games there for the playoffs. I'll look for them to go there as well. So, all right, we got the Blue Plate Special coming up. The Blue Plate Special is brought to you by Chuck Norwood, a good friend with the Chuck and the Chuck Norwood team. Remax of Gulf Shores. You're buying or selling, then these are the people you want to use down in Orange Beach and Gulf Shores. Serving the coast for over 33 years. Experience counts. People talk about buying investment properties around here. Now the pricing's gotten so high here, it's ridiculous. So get you a nice place at the beach that you can enjoy, but you also can rent that out. But Chuck will be happy to sell that to you. If you got a place down there, it's a great time to sell it as well. So go to chucknorwood.com or give them a call today, 251-948-1212. All right. I guess you got to make your decision now. Now, people are telling me if it looks too good, it's too good to be true, stay away. I said, I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. So where are you thinking here for this Blue Plate?
Well, I looked at in the early part of the week, I looked at all of them and I couldn't find one. Then I decided I thought Texas and Arkansas. Then I decided to get to that. And this one came about. It's pretty interesting. You know, it's sure enough an unbelievable opportunity, I think. And I started to do a double blue play, but I feel like I'm going to win with the one I'm going to give, and I didn't want to lose the other. I don't know. I don't know. I took South Carolina. 13.5. They're playing at home against a good Missouri team. South Carolina's on a roll. Their fans have an influence on the game. South Carolina gives up points when they shouldn't have it at various times, no doubt about it. They do. About the time you think they're good, they be bad a little bit. I just think 13.5, staying away from the 14, playing at home with a lot at stake, a lot to talk about for the coaches. That's not best for the team.
So why did you decide against the BYU?
Well,
Looks too good.
I don't know. I could double blue plate again.
No, you don't have to. That'll be your dessert plate, but we won't post it. But it's all right. So Chase, just so you know, you get the numbers correct. South Carolina minus 13.5. So that half is big. There, so that get to 14 against Missouri. The game is in Willie B. Willie B was Williams-Brice. That's over in Columbia. The game is on the SEC Network, and it's a 3:15 game. So that BYU game is a night game. It's like 9:15. That'd be way.
It's gonna be cold crowd out there too.
At BYU.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be less than 30 degrees.
Now, Kansas is coming off a good win over Iowa State last weekend, and they said the Utah athletic director says that Utah won that game against BYU, that they stole the game from them.
It cost them $40,000.
What happened? I didn't see the end. What happened at the end?
I don't know. They had a bad call at the end, or controversial. I don't know what it was.
If anybody knows what happened, call us up. I did see that the Utah athletic director, usually athletic directors don't come out and make statements like that. He did and said the game was stolen from him. Of course, that, leaves BYU in the playoff picture where that game probably would have taken them out. And both those schools being in Utah, I don't know if they compete a lot in recruiting or not with the Mormon situation, but I don't know. But that line is very interesting. There. The SEC games, Monroe is at Auburn. Monroe's 5-4. They've lost 3 straight, but they had some decent wins early. They beat UAB 32-6 in the second game of the year. They beat Troy on the road. They beat James Madison. They beat Southern Miss. Then the last 3 games they've lost at South Alabama, pretty bad, 46-17. They lost at Marshall 28-23, and Texas State beat them 38-17. So I don't know if the injury bug's hitting Monroe or not, but for Auburn to be favored 24 against anybody. So maybe that means they'll cover. Mercer, Bama, there's no line on that game. We've talked about Texas and Arkansas. Murray State, Kentucky, no line on that game. LSU, Florida. Dad, who wins that? That's whichever coach can have their team ready, I think, may have a chance there. That game is in Gainesville. The line.
Florida gets 4.
Yeah, LSU's a 4-point favorite in the game. I'm kind of hoping Florida wins that game. I'm tired of people piling on Billy Napier. Your thoughts on the LSU?
I do too. I hope they win. It's I don't know game for me. I didn't know, and when I get to those I don't know, I'm not sure games. And I'm not. Of course, you never sure. But when I get to those where I feel like I'm not sure exactly what direction to go, when I first look at it, I leave it alone. So I did. I just feel I look at momentum mentally and momentum and excitement, and you've been there 1,000 times. So you've got the excitement, you got the momentum, you've got a good team in Missouri. But I just believe that if you're ever going to cover 13.5, is a lot of points to cover. So I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
Missouri honestly shouldn't have beat Auburn. That kid came back from the hospital. They stole that Oklahoma game over the weekend. So we'll see. They beat Oklahoma 30-23 on a late turnover there. Alabama absolutely destroyed them. Of course, they were playing with a wounded team in that game. So I don't know. I don't know that Missouri's trending in the right direction. They don't have anything on their resume at all. So they're not even in the playoff conversation. So, but anyway, the last game in the SEC is that Texas-Arkansas game. We beat that one to death. And then the New Mexico State travels to Texas A&M, and Texas A&M's 39-point favorite there. Texas A&M on their schedule, they got New Mexico State. Then they travel to Auburn next weekend. Could that be a trap game before that Texas game? You go over to Auburn. You don't think Auburn's very good. You've been dying to play Texas for all these years. Could that be a trap game for the Aggies next Saturday?
No.
Why?
No.
Why?
I just don't think Auburn's good enough to trap anybody.
They can't trap you. They can't trap.
I don't think he can trap anybody.
Is Chase? I need Ole Miss to lose a game. Now, they ain't got but 2 left. Now, they got to go to Florida next week. They got Open this week, so Open's not going to get them. Is there any way your Mississippi State Bulldogs could get off the map for one game and ruin Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss? Give me hope. Give me hope, Chase. I need hope. I'm looking for anything right now because Jason is going to be on me, and I don't want to hear his stuff. I've been on him after that Kentucky loss. And Georgia went in there and laid down on me. They laid down. Arkansas laid down. I need Florida to rise up, but in case Florida doesn't, give me some reason why Mississippi State could beat Ole Miss. You ain't got
I'm sorry. I tried. I'm not even hopeful Mississippi State this year. I'm sorry. I just don't see it.
Yeah. Now he's bad. All right, we'll take this last break and wrap it. Anything, Chase. Anything. I'm looking for anything. Don't y'all hate Ole Miss?
We do, but we have to be honest.
Alabama Auburn last year. It was a 4th and 100, and they had to throw it. So Auburn should have beat Alabama. It's the same scenario. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Thursday mornings are one of our favorites on the Gary Harris Show. We're packed with content. Beginning at 9 a.m., the coach Ellis Johnson on SEC football at 9:30. D. Orlando Ledbetter with the Falcons report at 10. And Jeff Spiegel at 10:30, plus your phone calls. That's the Gary Harris Show, Thursday morning at 9 a.m.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. The action is in Cottondale right now with this tractor trailer that ran into the grass on 2059 eastbound after Highway 11. Everything on the right shoulder now. So the main lanes, what you're mostly dealing with is onlooker delays. Otherwise, we're looking a little slow also on Skyland.
What's a corn farmer's favorite dog? A husky.
Some things shouldn't be flat. But with GHX, you can maximize your acres with one flat price. While other brands sell by the bag, we sell seed by the acre to maximize your yield and profit potential. Our custom seed recommendations combine extensive product characterization and agronomic expertise to get the right product, population, and placement, all for one flat price per acre. Learn how at ghxseed.com/connect.
New models in stock and over 60 pre-owned vehicles. Remember, we'll buy your car even if you don't do business with us. 3200 Skyland Boulevard, East Tuscaloosa. Online at mercedesoftuscaloosa.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Any lingering showers ending early this morning. A clearing sky this afternoon. The high 67. Mostly fair tonight. The low 46. Tomorrow and Saturday, the sky's sunny both days. The high tomorrow 64. The high Saturday at 69. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 62 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Right to them app messages in all caps, or not all caps, but good blue plate, Coach. Winner, thumbs up, and then he has the cash emoji, and that's from Brandon. I guess Brandon says Anderson. I'm assuming that's Anderson, South Carolina. That's Clemson country there. So he says that's a good pick there. All right, get to the Yellowwood hotline. Go to Birmingham. Get Tony in. Good morning, Tony.
Morning, guys. I agree. It's a great pick. I actually think, to me, in my opinion, I think South Carolina's playing the best of just about any team in the conference. I can tell you this, their defense makes them extremely dangerous. And now that they got the playmaker at quarterback, they're just playing well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, I had said last week I thought they were an easy pick against Vanderbilt, and it turned out to be right. They 28-7, so they're playing well.
Yeah, and I think we can both agree they knew how to handle Alabama. Now Alabama made some mistakes. Don't get it twisted right there before the half. But if that game were being, I don't know that Alabama wins if it was at South Carolina.
Yeah. Shane Beamer, Coach of the Year?
I think so. I think he could be because I don't know. It depends on how the game ends up at Texas A&M because he was mentioned for a while, and so was Vandy. But the steam has kind of come off of Vanderbilt a little bit. Yeah, so I think it's going to be between those three. But if Texas A&M can hang on, I think he'll get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's done a great job, I think. Now, Barry, let me ask you a question. In your opinion, if the points matter, like you say, how long do you keep the starters in the game for Alabama? If we say 28-0 before the half.
Let's see. The tiebreaker capped relative total scoring margin versus all conference opponents, so that wouldn't factor in.
Oh, okay, it wouldn't factor in.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So that.
Well, I would get the.
But I'm saying
I get the backup a lot of playing time.
People complain about LSU scoring that last touchdown or Lane Kiffin throwing late against Arkansas. He's just trying, if it comes down to that, cover that last tiebreakers. I don't know why people have a problem with these guys scoring like that.
Because they don't know it.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. Look, guys, I'm not one of those guys. I was an OC, and it's not my job to stop my offense from scoring.
Yeah.
And if you put some kids in there and they want to score, I'm not going to tell them they can't. But anyway, another thing I was going to ask y'all: do you think that coming up in the future with this college football playoff thing, how long do you think it will be before they add 16?
Is the contract? I'm not sure. Is it 2 years? I don't know.
I'm not sure on that either.
Yeah, I'd have to research that. But I thought JC's point was 16, 8 home games. Everybody loves those home games. Those are going to be really exciting, and there'll be different, different weather situations. With all those bowls are all in the warm indoors. That'd be pretty neat. 8 games, play 4 on Friday and 4 on Saturday. And where they play, man, it could be bone chilling out there. It'd be pretty neat to watch all weekend there with 16. So,
if you have 16, do you cut the regular season shorter?
I don't think they're going to cut it shorter. That's money.
Well, that's true. That's what's running all of it.
Always goes back to the money. Follow the money, Tony.
Yeah, follow the breadcrumbs. You're exactly right. Yeah. Well, guys, y'all have a good rest of the week. Coach, good luck finding your money clip. I know that's more important than that credit card. So, all right, buddy.
Yeah. Philip says that money clip's in your garage, is what he said. So, have you looked in the garage?
Yeah, about 421 times.
Isn't it amazing how you keep finding, and then all of a sudden you go back and it's sitting somewhere that you've looked 100 times. There's people playing tricks on you in those situations sometimes. All right, the blue plate is in. Chuck Norwood's got it locked in. We're going to get out of here, and we're going to make way for the Gary Harris Show. So keep it locked in here all day long for a great lineup of local sports here on Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. Chase, we appreciate you. I can't wait to listen to Sonny Smith's music tomorrow. I need that in my life right now. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports. Have a great Thursday, everybody.